Hey guys, I'm Manny K SoSo, the robot with Saddam with the Bears, and today we're going to be building deep storage. So then, let's get started. Alrighty then guys, in order to build deep storage, we're going to need a couple of these items. You're going to need one sorter, one new STB silo, a bunch of chutes, I've got 30 here, but you'll probably need more or less depending on how you set up your entire system, some heavy cables. There's only one console required, although if you want to see the stack amount, there will be a second console required, which will display the amount that's in the sorter. One hash display that will go with our console so that way we can see which item is in the sorter. This is required. One IC housing along with its integrated circuit. You're going to need two buttons. One of them is going to be a next button and one of them is going to be an export button. And then we'll also have a lever to be able to fast switch between items so that way you don't have to keep hitting the next button. I have a computer and its IC editor here just so that way I have everything I need to program the IC housing, and I've got some walls just so I can put everything nicely on a wall. Alrighty, now it's time to get building. Alrighty, so I'm going to take the silo and I'm going to place it back here. I always make sure that the exit port, which you can see over here, is down on the ground, and that is the import slot. You will need several materials to build it. You can see you need 10 steel sheets. You should also be required some regular wires, but I'm going to use the authorizing tool to quickly build this. So now we have that. You can see that the export slot is there. I'll go ahead and power it on. And then that is the import slot. I then take my nice sorter here. I'll flip it around. I like to line it up just to where the data port is there. So I'll place that down. And let's see, so that's looking good so far. And let's go ahead and get a couple of chutes run. For here, I like to just use Windows in case I ever need to debug stuff. I'll just get the corners going, just so I have this going correctly. There we go. I'll take my housing next. I'll place it, let's place it here. And I'll just put the integrated circuit in there just for right now. I'll get some cables to wire everything up. So there is the one power slot in the back that we have to worry about. I'll just run it away and down this way. I'm going to need some handy dandy wire cutters so that way I can make the runs nice. And just run it up and around. Just so I have this, all of these hooked up right now. Actually, I'll make that a 4-port since I'm going to need power for this whole thing. So that should be good in the cables for the moment. Let's see. Let's do our buttons and our logic. Actually, you know what? Let's do the chutes. So I always use a chute bin just so I can get stuff into and out of the whole sorting system. I'll put that one there, and then I'm going to have a chute outlet that will export the items. And let's go ahead and run this chute outlet. So this left slot here is going to be our export. So I'll run that one up. I will run that one up. Have it turn around. And I need at least one more. And put a window there. This chute bin is going to need to come up and connect to this. So I at least need one there, and then I need to have a junction here, and rotate the way I want to. Okay, there we go. And this is going to go up and around the other one because it has to connect to the chute bin, and that's just because I don't want it going back into the back side of the sorter. Otherwise, you may end up with 2 items in here, and that's just not a fun thing to deal with. It will eventually get sorted through correctly to where you only have the 1 item. Oops, I don't need that one there. But it's just simpler to have it go in after the sorter. Oh, come on. And I need at least 1 more of these. I'll make another window. And then this is going to go all the way up to top, so just have this come all the way back down. So it does take a second to go right back in, but I'm not super concerned with it. And I'll probably take this one off just so I can get access to the IC housing for when we need it. I'll put up some walls here. Doesn't really matter which walls I put because they're only temporary and they're only there so I can put everything. I'm going to put a hash display here, which is regular console. I'll do a small LED display. This is the optional piece. If you want to see the number of ingots inside of there or whatever item, it will be displayed on that. And then I will have 2 buttons. I'll put 1 button there, 1 button there, and then a lever. And this lever is the one that's just going to keep cycling the items until you're done cycling the items. I'll go ahead and put that hash display in just so it's there. And I'll go ahead and put my tool away and just put some glass over this. So that's all of that that's required. So let's go ahead and do some more wiring. So come down. And let's see. I'll run it down and underneath. This one needs to come down. I'll do 3 points for these. So I know this one needs to be a 3-way. Oops. Wrong kind of 3-way. Oh. You know what? We'll just make it a 4-way. Doesn't really matter. And I will get out my pliers again because I want to do some specifics with this. So we'll have it come that way, and we're going to have it come underneath to connect up with the rest of the circuitry. So that's all the minimum requirements done. I'll get a computer here, and this will be for the programming. I'll get its integrated circuit housing, and we'll wire it up. There we go. So now that that's wired up, I'm also going to need an RTG, so I'll give myself an RTG for power. Just spin it around and connect it up. So there is that. So that's everything that's currently required. So let's go ahead and do some labeling. I need this. I'm going to name this next, and this one export, just so they're labeled. And I will get rid of these for now, so that way we just don't have it sitting around in our way. And we'll go ahead and turn on some power to this. Also make sure you turn on the sorter, otherwise nothing will go through. I'll turn that on. And then I need, oh, I guess I don't have one out here. I need a data card, just so I can set this up. And let's see, I want to find that IC housing. There it is. The IC housing is going to display the hash that's outputted. So here we have that. I'm going to grab my code really quickly, if I can find it. Let's see. Nope, that is not it. There it is. So there's the code. I will export it. So now that code is exported, turn it on really quick, turn it off, and then we'll have everything ready to go. So it wants the sorter, it wants the next button, and then wants the export button, then the silo. This display is the optional display. It's that little LED display. And then finally the lever. And the lever is required just so it can do everything. Although it runs off the same code that this next button does, it's still needed to do everything. So turn that on and you'll see that it's running fine. Obviously, since we have no items in here yet, we need to add some. Let's add this console in there. What the console? Let's add some cables, the logic switch, the wall, and the computer. Okay, so now all of those are in there. I will turn on the IC housing again. And you can see one item went in there. You can see the consoles went in there. There's only 3 of them. So when you first start the code, it's going to keep trying to export the contents of what's ever in the silo and try to get it in the sorter until there's something in the sorter. So it's usually better to have at least 2 items in the silo before you turn on the code. So that way it's not just spamming open constantly, because it will do that. Now that it's all hooked up and ready to go, we can see we have 4 items in there plus the 1. And we're just like, I don't want the kit console. So you hit the next button. It will export that item and it will come out with the next item. And that's the second item we'll put in, the heavy cables. And if I want this item, I can go ahead and hit the export button and that will give me those cables. So then we can see that the logic switches are next. And one nice thing, since the way I've ordered this, is that when I input an item, it's going to input that item before this item. So if I put those heavy cables back in, so now those heavy cables are back in. If I go around and go back to those heavy cables, and now we're going to be back at the beginning. So here is the beginning item, and we should see that next we're going to have the heavy cables again, and there they are. And if I just want to go like, okay, I know the next item I want is pretty far, pull the lever, and it's just going to keep going through the items until you tell it to stop. So I'll just tell it to stop here, and the next item should stay in there. So I went all the way back to the consoles. Sometimes you might see that an extra item will be sitting here. You can go ahead and leave that. If an item does get stuck in this first slot, it will eventually fix itself and actually go in the sorter next, and the next item won't actually come out. But there you go. That is everything that you need to know with deep storage. You will be able to find it under the Steam Workshop under my name. It will be called Deep Storage. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Have a good day.